small Jewish community of the United Arab Emirates is enjoying new, closer ties with the government, emboldened by clandestine relations between Jerusalem and Dubai, even though the UAE does not have diplomatic relations officially with Israel. But relationships and cooperation simmering just below the surface for many years, and emboldened by a shared distrust of Iran, UAE Jews no longer shunning publicity. In fact, they're nurturing and encouraging a growing online presence on social media platforms. With me now is Kriel, the president of the UAE's Jewish community. Sir, thank you so much for being with me. I want to ask you, how would you characterize the current relationship between the Jewish community there and the government? Are you supported? Are you nurtured? Are you just a pest in their side? How do you characterize it?
The relationship now and historically has always been a very positive one. The UAE has a culture of tolerance, and that especially applies to the Abrahamic religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. And I think there's always been a deep sense of empathy and brotherhood that I've experienced as a Jewish leader right from my early days here in the UAE.
How many Jews are we talking about are in the UAE, and how do you grow a community in the United Arab Emirates, support Jewish growth?
Sure. Well, in the beginning, that was not so easy. We used to have an expression called bageling somebody, which meant picking up from some sort of social tick or tack that a person was Jewish. Now, of course, it's much easier and the community has become much more confident, but we're still small. We have to be candid about that. We're still a community in the hundreds, but our presence here is a very hopeful fact about the Jewish world and something that I'm personally very proud of.
Have you had weddings? Are there births and Brit Milah? I mean, how do you, the traditions of Judaism and Jewish family, do they exist, or it's already adults who are in a different phase of their life and just want to be supported with like-minded individuals?
So the only thing we haven't had is a wedding. So if you're not yet married, please consider Dubai as a destination for your wedding. But we have had Brit Milah, many. We have had bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and the whole, all the aspects of Jewish life. We have a very rich community life here, and something that's always been very strongly supported by the authorities. So we live a full Jewish life.
Do you fear, I want to ask this question directly, do you fear that in any way you're being used by the government or parts of the government as so-called tokenism, that the government wants to express that they're tolerant and more progressive than people believe, and they hold you up as a pillar of that, while at the same time the government officially does not support Israel's right to exist?
So I definitely feel, and I must tell you, I have strong feelings about this, that the government's approach to our community is completely based on their own value system. In other words, I've never seen it as a strategic move on their side to try to carry favor or try to achieve some kind of political objective. I think that they have welcomed us because it's their culture to do so, and it's their DNA. And I feel strongly about this, and I think the proof of that is that we've been here for many years. I've been coming to Dubai since 2008, and I've been involved in leading the community since 2010, long before any of the recent developments were obvious to the world at large. And I think they're doing this because they believe in it and because it's who they are.
Tell me more about your social media presence. I mean, I know this is you just created weeks ago a new Twitter page. Why do that? And what's the next step for your social media presence?
Well, people who know our community will be aware of the fact that generally we have been quite sneered, quite modest as a community. We have had some media presence, but we've tried to be quite careful about that. And this new Twitter account is something that is still very much under discussion within the community. And of course, We hope that it's positive, but it's something that needs to be further discussed and thought about within the community.
All right, Ross Kriel, a pleasure to have you on the program today as we zoomed in to the UAE's small but certainly very proud Jewish community there, nurturing growth. Thank you so much for your time today.
Lovely to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.